Geez, I hope you are well. We've got a topic here today which does not seem like it's related to your physique journey, but it absolutely is. Like you'd have heard me say it many times that the importance of this journey and the reason that I talk about it so passionately and I literally push everyone to dedicate their life towards physique development is because I honestly believe it is the foundation to success in every single area of life. It is a journey that literally puts your mental health in the best possible position. It is a journey that provides you with the most amount of energy that you can possibly have. It forces you to do hard shit on a daily basis, prioritizing your mental and your physical health. No other journey does that, and that is why I speak about it with so much passion. Like you've heard me say, I don't give too much of a shit about how I look. It's a nice side effect, the confidence that comes with it. But the reason I dedicate my life to it is I know full well that if I've got this journey on lock, everything else in my life is under control. The minute this journey's fucked and my sleep starts to drop, I can't prioritize my nutrition, I'm missing the gym, I know that everything else is about to collapse. And this is where it all correlates, that self-help type journey, becoming the best version of yourself and just essentially not allowing life to beat you down. So I was listening to a podcast at the weekend by Dan Priestley. He's all around the way that social media has moved in, artificial intelligence, all of this sort of stuff. And he was talking about how humans no longer can think for themselves and how in generations to come, people are not going to know how to respond emotionally. People aren't going to actually be able to operate. And it's quite scary. Like we're going to live in a generation of robots. And when you hear that, it sounds fucking scary. But as an optimistic person, I like to always think, right, but this is a way I can make good for the world. I look to all the people around me and I'm going, right, this is your opportunity to fucking get everything that you want from life. Everyone else is going to forget how to think. Everyone else is no longer going to be able to function. So this is your opportunity to go, right, so how do I make sure I make the most of this? So the way that I've described it is this is a generation of people who act based on how they feel. They feel stressed, they feel down. I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm no longer going to chase that goal. I'm just going to scroll social media. There is so much room for distraction. It is terrifying. The moment you don't want to do something, you can keep yourself occupied. Beforehand, people kind of worked and locked in because I was like, right, what else do? I don't just want to sit down. Whereas now, you can distract yourself. So people act based on how they feel. And when you act based on how you feel, it's never linear progress. It's up, down, up, down, up, down, and never progression. There's a fantastic book on the topic of books by Patrick Bet-David, and he talks about how majority of people don't actually progress in any area of life. They just constantly operate at the same foundation. A lot about why I talk about the internal thermostat, but it's the easiest time to get ahead. People have got TikTok brains. Even when it comes to people trying to get into shape, they're looking for the quickest way. Fat loss injections, steroid abuse, dopamine craze. Like everyone is obsessed with the next best thing. This is where the importance of reading comes into it. So reading is something that I will truly say has changed my life. I got into it around 16, 17, but just like a little book here and there. And so yeah, in the last like 10 years, I've read around 150 plus books. And now I usually finish a book every 2 to 3 weeks. And there's a few books here I'll put it as an example that I've listened to and just got pictures of on my phone. But if you message me something that you're currently interested in, I can give you a book recommendation. It's important that if you read something that is something you're actually interested in. Like people say they don't like reading, but it's just a case of not reading the right book. Like if you listen to a shit song, you don't say you don't like music, do you? You just say it's a shit song. Like there is books out there you'll like and you'll really benefit from. And the thing that's always like I've just found so fucking powerful about reading is you can look at this, like look at a book, right? And you go, after reading this book, there is a possibility that I can be a different person. There is a possibility that I'll have a thought that could change the trajectory of mine and my family's life for the better. So reading is so powerful, and you kind of want to look at, like if you're playing a video game or something and there was something to level up your character a little bit quicker. That's the way that I see reading, and it's something that's just opened up my eyes and even allowed me to describe things in a way that I want to. I used to get when I was younger where I'd feel a certain thing and I wouldn't know how to portray my thoughts, and I'd be like, right, how do I actually explain this? But yeah, reading is the ultimate cheat code for your mind's success and identity. And I believe reading is more important than ever with the rise of AI. People have creativity weakness. It's like, I need an idea. They'll go onto ChatGPT, they'll go onto Google looking for something. All the greatest ideas are going to come from a collection of your life experiences, of your thoughts. Artificial intelligence is literally just a prompt. Google is literally going to be a prompt. you're able to create unique endeavors, these things that are different to everyone else. That's the only way you're going to be able to stand out. And problem solving skills decline. Again, there was actually a study that showed this, with people who use sat navs as opposed to people who remember directions. The part of the brain for problem solving literally started to decrease in size. Zero resilience. Again, people used to get things like that. They want an answer, boom, boom, boom. So they have lost the ability to get after something if it takes time. No longer have the ability to think for themselves, which I believe is the worst of all. And identity becomes borrowed. No one actually thinks for themselves. No one actually bases things off of their own experiences. If they feel a certain way, they're like, oh, okay, so let's Google this. I want to feel the way this person feels. They just watch a video to distract themselves. When there's social medias that can make you feel happy, sad, depressed, motivated, demotivated, all within 5 scrolls, can you imagine what that does to your brain? Can you imagine what that actually does to your emotions? So, number one, the reason that I believe reading is fantastic is because it creates perspective. Books let you experience a lifetime of lessons without living them. At the end of our lives, back in the fucking day, like I'm from the past, but humans they'd get to like around 80 years old and they'd be like, right, these are the few valuable things that I learned. Or they'd speak to someone from a different city and learn a few things and they'd remember it. Right now, you have the ability to learn from literally millions of people who have lived. Like, you can fuck all the mistakes off, which is an incredible thing, right? You can look for the pain points, you can look for where you're potentially leading down, what road you're going down, and see what the potential risks are. So books let you experience life lessons without living them. And they expand how you think, see, and interpret the world. That was one of the biggest things for me. I was very stuck in like a small town type mentality where I thought everyone thought the way I did, I thought everyone acted the way I did, and this allowed me to change the sum of the 5 people around me. Like, where you're going to be around people at school, work, whatever it is that you don't want to think like, that you don't want to be around, but you have to be. But on your breaks, after, before, whenever it is, you can start to listen to people who you want to operate like, who you want to think like, and this will have a huge effect on the way that you operate. Identity growth. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you rise to levels of your identity. I changed this from Atomic Habits, but it really is true. If you identify as someone, like, again, going back to small town mentality, majority of people there have stuck themselves inside that thermostat of the same expectations, the same thing, that like linear. I don't want to say it in a disrespectful way, because everyone can live their own lives. But yeah, just never rise into anything. Reading shapes your internal narrative. Again, like, if you're seeing people achieve the most insane fucking things, you're seeing people go to the most crazy of heights, you're gonna go, oh, so I can do that myself. Like, that, all them limiting beliefs can get destroyed. I remember actually having people laugh at me when I was talking about the coaching. I remember someone asked me for advice. It was in COVID when I first started it, and it was when like the pubs first opened. I was down the pub, and this guy was like to me, "Oh mate, you're looking really good." And then someone from my school, funny enough, come over and basically just started like taking a piss out of the guy, going, "Why do you want advice from this guy who works at Tesco?" I was working at Tesco at the time, and I remember like it gave me like a proper kick. Like, right, I need to fucking take this levels, and that's when I really fell in love with books. I was like, I no longer want to be around energy like that, and I'm just going to spend so much time in these books where I can open up my mind and I can start to, I guess, believe myself a little bit more. And when you see that other people out there are doing the craziest of things, you think, why not you? Do you know what I mean? So you're going back to that internal thermostat. Mental discipline. Reading trains focus, attention, and delayed gratification in a distracted world. I know I keep talking about the TikTok brains, but it is so fucking true. Like, the amount of time people come to me motivated as fuck because they've probably watched fucking 2 TikToks of David Goggins and they're fired up and they're ready to go. It means fuck all. If you can get motivated like that, you can fall off just as quick. Whereas when you actually start to understand the lessons behind these things, why you operate that way, why you think like this is when you can actually start to apply this to your own life. The book I always get people to start off with when it comes to discipline is David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. If you know me and I've not spoken about David Goggins, we've not had a long enough conversation. But yeah, Goggins, obviously, for that sort of thing, he is the fucking man when it comes to discipline. But yeah, discipline, it truly is a superpower. If you don't like where you're at in life, discipline is going to be the thing that changes that for you. Emotional intelligence. Stories build empathy. So I read a book at a weekend called The Alchemist. If you don't really like self-help type books, it's a really good book of combining a lot of knowledge you can take on in life in like a fun way. Self-development books build awareness. So actually understanding that, like, you don't actually, your brain lies to you. Sometimes you'll feel a certain way, but you don't actually feel that way. And both make you more effective with people. So it allows you to not get angry at people. It allows you to understand people, and most importantly, it makes you feel better, because sometimes we can have someone treat us like shit. Sometimes we can have people act in an awful way towards us, but it's nothing to do with us, and it's to do with them. And when you can start to understand that, it makes the world seem a lot of a kinder place. Career and income growth. When I was first getting into reading, it was when I literally, like, when I was at university, and basically every penny I had, I used to, well, it started off, every penny I had would go on alcohol, and I decided, I was like, right, we're changing everything, and then everything started to go on books. And I remember there was this one time, I was working, I was still at Tesco, I was in the petrol station for that day, and a guy come in and filled up his tank with like £120, and I was like, somebody has £120 to fill up a car tank. And at that time, I think I had like £30-40 in my bank account, and I was like, well, I'm not going to do nothing with that money. Even if I save it, it's not going to do fuck all if I actually want to change my life. So that was when I'd done like my first like proper book purchase, where I spent all of that money on books, and I was like, that if that money comes in, the knowledge is going to come out, and that's going to allow me to expand. And when it comes to growth and investing in yourself, I cannot recommend it enough. I've spoken it a lot, but like, yeah, but that time when I was at the Tesco period, I was earning around £1,200 a month. I was paying £800 for a business mentor to learn there, over £200 on a coach. Every penny I earned was on growth. And I would think it sometimes, like, if I wasn't paying for this mentor and I wasn't paying for this coach, I was like, I could be saving like £1,000 a month. And I was like, so in a year, 2 years time, I could have 14,000 pounds a day, whatever it would be. Or I could have 2 years of knowledge from these people who's going to end up in a better position. And luckily I chose to continue to invest in myself. And yeah, it really has changed my life. And a book can save you 5 years of mistakes. And I stand by this so much. There's one book called The Defining Decade. It's about how to manage your 20s. And it's something that, like, a book that I've gone back to quite a lot. I find myself doing it a lot when I feel a little bit stressed about moves, and it's really, really helped me. Stress reduction. Reading calms the mind, reduces anxiety, and improves sleep. It's therapy without a price tag. So I go and read before bed every single night. It just shuts my brain down really nicely. But for some people, if you've got ADHD, I'm a little bit ADHD. Sometimes you can struggle to concentrate, so you need to be moving. Like at the moment, I'm constantly moving on my chair. You can't see under the table, I'm constantly moving. But listening to books really helps. You can do some steps, or if like you're doing the washing up or something, if you've got ADHD, it really helps by doing two things. Like, so you're taking in information while doing something else. So like, that's why I always try to, if I'm going on steps, I like to read. I usually always sort of have a book on. But yeah, what I was talking about earlier regarding you're a sum of the 5 people around you. This enables you to be a sum of the 5. The sum of the 5 people around you can be anyone you want. You know, your favorite this, your favorite that, someone who inspires you substantially, whoever it is. So then this one here, it sounds so stupid how to start reading more, because like you just pick up the fucking book. But unless you actually plan how you're going to do it, you're not going to do it. You know, you're not. A great book for us, Atomic Habits, all about habit stacking. But if you just say, right, I'm just going to listen, you know, I'm just going to read, you're not going to. You need to know when you're going to do it. So set the intention. How many pages are you going to listen a day? How many you can read a day? Or how long you're going to listen for each day? Make sure that is a daily non-negotiable. The same way you brush your teeth for 2 minutes every single morning. Hopefully, anyway, you dirty bastard. But yeah, be intentional with this. Read topics you actually enjoy. I made the mistake as before. I brought a book about how to heal. It's like how to heal after a relationship. I didn't have any fucking care about it at all. It was not a situation I was going through, but it just had good reviews, and then it was a shit book. Just good one for me. Use audiobooks when busy. On the move, traveling. Isaac, if he's listening to this, he travels a lot every single day for work, and he's constantly listening to a book. So he gets through like a book a week. So this year he's smashed like a shit ton of books, and then track books to build momentum. So I've got a fucking sick book collection. And it's weird, but like the bigger it gets, I kind of look at them like trophies and medals, because I see them as that it is an achievement. It's something that I've learned. But yeah, your mind is your most powerful asset. People always say, like, what's the best thing to invest in? Is it crypto? Is it stocks? Is it this? Is it that? And I truly believe that the best thing you can ever invest in is yourself. You know, like whether the stocks go up and down, whether the world changes here and there, whatever happens, you're going to be left with this, and you want to ensure that it is the best possible version that you could work with. And that's what's going to mean that regardless of what's going on in the world, that you can always ensure that you've got success for you and your families. Reading is how you sharpen your brain every single day. And like I say, if there's any book recommendations you want, drop me a message based on like what your current interests are, and I'll send you some recommendations across. I hope you enjoyed. I know it's one that like some people might just not be interested in, but I cannot recommend it enough. I was always someone who weren't really like crazy interested in books. I was like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, truly something that has changed my life.